Let's bring in Hollywood divorce attorney David Glass for more on this. David?
People going through divorces are going through some of the hardest times of their lives, and a lot of what they're going through is emotional. And in any divorce, there's a huge sense of loss, and loss of relationship, of money, some friends.
Hi, David Glass for the Hourglass Podcast. As we mentioned on the website, we're kicking off a whole new season with another round of experts. Only this time, we're talking to those in the film and television industries. Our first guest this season is Gregg Schwenk, whose job it is to oversee a large group of programmers who select 100 features and 30 shorts to screen at the annual Newport Beach Film Festival. The festival is in its 25th year and is ranked as the largest independent film festival in Southern California. It attracts more than 60,000 people over a 5-day period. Gregg is the event's film festival director. So if anyone knows what moves an audience, it's Gregg. Gregg, welcome to the Hourglass Podcast, where family law and psychology intersect. Tell us about you. How did you venture into the film festival industry, and how did you get associated with the Newport Beach Film Festival in particular?
Well, I grew up here, so I have very deep roots in Newport Beach and Orange County in general. And then happened to graduate from UC Berkeley. And while I was up at Berkeley, I worked my way through school doing research work. And the very first project I ever worked on was for the Spanish government that wanted to invest $1 billion in building sound stages throughout Spain. And really fell in love with that process and taking a look at the impact that filmmaking has from the business side. You know, the idea of the legions of people that are employed, not just in front of and behind the camera, but all the other supporting industries that go around any kind of movie or even a commercial shoot. So you fast forward, I happened to be hired by Citigroup and worked for over a decade with Citigroup doing mergers and acquisitions. And there was an opportunity to found the Newport Beach Film Festival. And Todd Corderero and I said, this is a great place. Todd had grown up in Irvine, and so also kind of knew Orange County rather well. And I said that Newport, there's really no better place for an international film festival than Newport Beach. It's got that wonderful backdrop. You've got the yachts and the beautiful resorts and the incredible dining. So all these things came together to really place Newport on the map very early. And so we said, we're going to lead with our strengths, and we're going to program in those films that will resonate with our audience. That included things like action sports and really strong documentaries, a wide array of short films, especially from local campuses. So we really were kind of one of the early pioneers of building alliances with different organizations and groups to make the festival happen.
Yeah, and so I was recently talking to an indie film director and asked them in a very uninformed way, you know, how you got involved in that and you stayed with it. Is there ever an opportunity to move up into the blockbuster films, into the big films? And he said he had absolutely no interest, and it was a completely different type of filmmaking. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think again, I have no creative skills whatsoever. So I always, I have an awesome amount of respect to filmmakers. And that, they take, from a screenwriter perspective, the blank page and turn it into something amazing. And then from that, you get a whole cadre of people who are coming together to make a movie, whether that be a blockbuster or quote unquote an indie film. I mean, I think when looking at and again, indie is kind of taken on many different definitions and many different inferences. But I think if you look at it overall, I mean, a real indie is maybe something that is done outside of a studio or a quote unquote streamer service. It may at some point be picked up by one of those, right. But it's kind of done independently. And but I think there has been a kind of a connotation that indie is less than. And I don't think that's the case. And many of the quote unquote independent films that we have are outstanding, and many of them are obviously are international. But really reflect the rich storytelling capabilities and histories of many of the countries and cultures that we celebrate. When looking at kind of major films, I mean, I look at last year, when looking at the festival in 2023, we closed with The Holdovers. and I don't know if that's considered an indie, but it certainly went on to do rather well for both the film and many of its cast. We also had American Fiction, which, it was a great film and did very, very well with us and did very well with our audience. Naiad, May, December. This year we've got Seed of the Sacred Fig, which again is a Persian film, which is going to go on, I think, get a great deal of acclaim. Old Guy, which is our opening night film. It's definitely an independent film, but you got people like Cooper Hoffman, Lucy Liu, and Christoph Waltz. So you're dealing with, more of an independent film that has very high-powered acting capability in it. So again, when I look at these things, I think it's about whatever label you might put on a film. It's really about how do you connect with your audience. And I look at that, taking it a step further. My mom's in her 80s, and I came over to the house the other day, and she was watching a K-drama from Korea. And I said, "How did you find this?" "Oh, I really liked the Korean Spotlight last year, and I started looking through some things, and it recommended it to me."
Wow.
So when you're looking at these things, they could be smaller international productions, they could be independent films in the US. We're finding ways to connect with an audience that heretofore hasn't had that opportunity. So I think for filmmakers, it's labels kind of passe in some cases.
Mm-hmm. And now I read somewhere that there are more than 12,000 film festivals worldwide. What makes the Newport Beach Film Festival stand out?
Well, I think first and foremost, as I said before, is our location. You look at Newport Beach, and it's beautiful. People would come to Newport Beach if there wasn't a film festival,
Right.
but it definitely enhances the time that they have here. And it really, as I said, there's no more beautiful backdrop for our event. I also think our proximity to Hollywood allows for so many people from the industry. We have a very large academy and guild population here in Newport. And then we have a number of people who live in LA that have a home here. So it makes it a must stop now on the festival circuit. And that's helped to elevate our engagement with some major films. But I think the other pieces to it is, I think, the passion both that the festival itself has for film, as well as our audience, the general audience. I go to screenings in Los Angeles and really Los Angeles, and I think I often see that that Schadenfreude, I think, is the term, like the downfall of my friend brings me joy.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a bummer when you sometimes see screenings in LA and people are kind of they're not rooting for it.
Right.
In Newport, I'd say that the vast majority of the audience is they want a home run. They are in the audience and they are rooting for your film. And I think so many of our filmmakers said, you've got such great audiences here. You have such people who are passionate about film that want that, and it's really they want to be engaged and ultimately entertained. And I think that's what really makes Newport special. Is one, we've figured out how to tap into both our industry as well as our general audience and bring them film that they want to see. And two, that we host incredible events that people want to attend. And I look at our opening night with 2,500 people. 30 restaurants from our top restaurants here in Orange County. Our food tasting, from our top restaurants in Orange County. Live performances, DJ. We've had Cirque du Soleil perform in the past. We've had direct from Broadway shows come in and do a few numbers. Really, we have a stunning opening night, and that really carries through to all of our events. Some of which we have 3 a day that we produce. That are open to the public. So there's some really special opportunities at the Newport Beach Film Festival that I think I don't see at other festivals.